Pinky Anand is joining us, lawyer for the Supreme Court. Give us perspective considering that Tarun Tejpal becomes one of the first who has been charged under the new rape law. Pinky Anand, earlier what Tarun Tejpal essentially did, or what he's accused of, would at best have been molestation. Under the new amended criminal law, this becomes rape. He's charged with rape. Clearly this is a test case in itself for the new amended law, wouldn't you say?
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, much for the laws to change, and the idea was to make it wider so that women would not be harassed or exploited or sexually abused. And I think the laws have tried to make a very holistic coverage insofar as rape is concerned, insofar as sexual attacks are concerned, because outraging the modesty of a woman under 354 was hopelessly inadequate. I mean, for example, you had punishment only up to 2 years, and even in very serious cases, punishment was only given up to a few months or fine at most. So I think it's a situation which has necessitated the developments that have happened. The Nirbhaya case resulted in a total demand for change, and the change has come, and definitely Tarun Tejpal's case, being one of the first cases which has come under the ambit of the new laws, will demonstrate itself to be a test case, and people would be waiting to see how things progress.
But having said that, Pinky Anand, many of those, especially not just the defense but others who have looked at this case, have said that even in the case of the Nirbhaya gang rape case, those accused were in jail at best for 11 days in police custody. Tarun Tejpal was put for 14 days in police custody. He's not a hardened criminal, he has no past record. Do you think that for this being a high-profile case, and perhaps the stringent measures that have been taken, would you agree with that criticism?
I don't think, one should delve so much into what the requirements of the custody are. The question of what investigation is required, you've seen that the charge sheet has come to 2800 pages and 152 witnesses. You do require investigation to be done, and custodial interrogation is part and parcel of the entire process of criminal jurisprudence. So I don't think one should look askance at the number of days, whether it is 7 days or whether it is a month or whether it is lesser. I mean, that is up to what the police require to investigate a case.
Neha Gupta is also joining us. She perhaps might have a contrarian view. Go ahead, Neha.
No, my view is only that if you see the past few cases where there have been high profile accused persons, you'll see 2G, you'll see a number of other trials. The courts have, right from the trial court to the Supreme Court, have consistently refused to give bail. Now, Tarun Tejpal's case falls in that realm where he's a high profile journalist, and he's also been denied bail. I think he's been in custody since the end of November, and it's been almost 80-90 days, and he's still not being granted bail. So I think this speaks a little bit about the trend in the judiciary today of not granting bail. May not be entirely on the merits of the case, but this is just a tendency of the judiciary to shift from bail as a matter of right to jail.
Also, what I want to ask both of you and want your perspective, because essentially the reason why we're having this debate on Newsnight this evening is for viewers to also understand the new law on rape and how it affects individual cases, not just a Tarun Tejpal high profile case, but how it's going to be in the future, how this perhaps case will not just set a precedent but also become a test case as we started out. And my question is that there is an argument that in our country the laws are either very weak or they're extremely stringent. For instance, in the US, if you look at cases, there's aggravated assault and then it moves to first degree murder. But here, even in this case, even in terms of rape, do you think there is a necessity to have a middle path law, or does it need to be stringent considering the kind of past that we have seen? Pinky Anand.
Neha, sorry, Mahrukh, the question today is, rape is one of the most heinous offences. Any kind of exploitation of a woman, any kind of sexually abusing, assaulting, exploiting her requires to be dealt with in the most stringent manner. So I think this was a long time in waiting as far as the laws are concerned, and you have seen that in fact even today you are having more and more cases which are either being reported more or more cases are coming up. I don't know of the two which might be more accurate, but I assume it is more reporting. The question is, you need to put a standard in society where when women are raped, and rape would include the entire paraphernalia of active physical assault in a manner as defined today in the new laws of 376. For example, you also saw the trend which came. Initially you had simple rape, so to say.
Right.
Then you started having custodial rape as an aggravated form of rape and a higher punishment. You had rape where it was committed by a person in trust or a fiduciary duty, or somebody having control being dealt with in a separate category. So yes, if a person, for example, is in a position of power and trust, or in any kind of institutional manner having any kind of control over the complainant, definitely it is an aggravated form of rape. Therefore, there is a differentiation in law even between rape and between custodial rape, institutional rape, rape by a person in power. And I think it's high time. The figures of rape have been going up, sexual assault. You're having situations which are uncontrollable. You definitely require to send a very strong message in society that this will not be tolerated. I think Nirbhaya woke up everybody from their dreams and brought a complete nightmare into society where people wanted an answer. You saw people on the roads, you saw people, the young girls, the young boys, in fact the youth asking for the change, and that is how the change has come about. In fact, had it not been for the aggravated insistence in a way and the mobility, the social movement, you may not have had this happening. It was talked about but not happening.
Right.
So therefore, I think it is a time which the message needs to go down in society very strongly.
Okay, I want to ask Neha Gupta at this point. One of the defense that was given by the counsel of Tarun Tejpal was this is a political conspiracy. Today we have a 2,900 page voluminous charge sheet that has been filed against Tarun Tejpal based amongst what you would call circumstantial evidence, also a proof in terms of CCTV footage, in terms of emails that had been written, including the apology by Tarun Tejpal. How flat does the case that has been presented by his defense counsel now fall?
Well, I think from whatever's come out in the media, they did say, as part of their defense strategy was also that this is a politically motivated case, and so the FIR was filed before the girl could make a formal complaint, which is a little unusual for such cases. But I think it's a long road ahead for the defense, as it is for the prosecution. I believe the state of Goa has appointed a special public prosecutor for this case. They are going to press for day-to-day trial under section 3091 of the CRPC, which is their right. But I think it's a very long road ahead for the defense. It is, as you said, a very voluminous charge sheet. From whatever has been in the media, a lot of they have gone through elaborate ways to, they've recorded the statement of the girl, perhaps the emails, everything has been taken on record before filing of a charge sheet. So it indicates that that a lot of work has been done by the state and by the prosecution and by the IO, which is a good thing, and they need to be commended for doing such a wonderful long charge sheet in such a short amount of time. Usually you see in these cases of rape or murder, you see that the police is very lax, the attitude is very different, charge sheets are not filed for years together. So I think this is a very welcome step. It sets a good precedent for other cases of similar nature where the police has taken action swiftly, and the charge sheet has been filed swiftly, and hopefully the trial will progress swiftly, which will be good for Tarun Tejpal if he is not guilty. Of course, it will be good for the prosecution if they find him guilty.
Pinky Anand, also the question is that perhaps because some indicated, or not just the defense counsel but others also who kind of propounded on this case, said that because of the political nature, Tarun Tejpal was the editor of a magazine that was known to excel in investigative journalism. There was a political angle to it. That's why the Goa police perhaps was as prompt as it was. Now my question is, if there is, in the future, every case might not be as high profile as the Tarun Tejpal case, is the amended criminal law strong enough for every person or every victim to have the kind of recourse, just as the victim in this case has?
I'm afraid, Mahrukh, our laws are as strong as we want to make them. So you may have strong laws, you do have strong laws today. There is no difficulty on that score, and that is so with most of our laws in this country. They are substantive laws which are extremely efficient, but the implementation of those laws is always what needs to be looked at. So for example, when you don't have fast track matters which are being tried, if you have, let us say, rape cases, most of them are not tried in the original instance by fast track courts until and unless there is a pressure. For example, in Nirbhaya Nirbhaya's case, also there was tremendous pressure to put it under fast track.
Right.
So actually speaking, what you need to do is have a mechanism in place where you have automatically fast track matters. And the question there is ultimately not of conviction or acquittal. The question is the trial has to finish within a time bound period. You are dealing with the dignity, you are dealing with the honor of a victim, and you are dealing with complete exploitation as far as women are concerned. So you do need to have a completely fast track mechanism. Initially there was some proposal, again Mr. Chidambaram came up with something in the budget in the last year, but
right.
What has the budget gone towards? At 1,000 crores which was announced as the Nirbhaya fund to be given to for the benefit of women, where is it? What we need is a structural situation to say, here if there is a case, police investigates, charge sheet filed, thereafter the trial will start and finish within a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever the time period which may be taken, which also is pretty speedy. I think the day we can achieve that, we have achieved judicial and systematic success.
On that note, Pinky Anand and Neha Gupta, thank you so much for joining me here on Newsnight. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, the other big story of the day, the Telangana gamble. Is the Congress bracing for a troublesome Tuesday? Is it going to be able to achieve that dream of bifurcating Andhra Pradesh ahead of 2014?